Praise the Lord. In today's story, we are going to learn about a time when someone did not keep their marriage promises. David was a good king. He loved God and tried to be kind to people and do what God said. But he was not always good. In today's story, we will learn about one time when King David did something very wrong. During the springtime of the year, the army of Israel went off to fight a battle with their enemies, the Ammonites. Usually, King David went along with the army. But this time he decided to stay home at his palace in Jerusalem. One night, David could not sleep, so he decided to take a walk. The roof of his palace was nice and cool. It was flat and it was a good place to walk. David began to stroll around on the flat roof. While he was there, David saw something moving on the roof of another house. He looked more closely and realized it was a woman bathing. The woman's name was Bathsheba. Bathsheba already had a husband, and his name was Uriah the Hittite. But Uriah was not at home with Bathsheba. He was soldier and was away fighting battle with King David's army. Bathsheba was alone. King David knew that Bathsheba was married, but he told his servant to go and tell her to come to his palace. He knew God's law said that he should not be with another man's wife, but King David disobeyed God's law. He slept with Bathsheba like a husband sleeps with the wife. This is called adultery, and it is a sin. Not long after this, Bathsheba found out that she was pregnant. When she told King David, he became very afraid. When Bathsheba had a baby, everyone would know that he had slept with her and committed a sin. King David made a plan to trick everyone. If Bathsheba's husband Uriah came home from fighting battles, he could be together with Bathsheba again. Then everyone would think that Bathsheba's baby belonged to Uriah. They would never know David was the father. David sent a message to his army general to ensure no one would know what he did. He asked the army general to send Uriah home to Bathsheba. That way, everyone would see Bathsheba and her husband together. And they would never guess that she and David had done anything wrong. So King David sent word for Uriah to come home. But Uriah was a good soldier and worried about other men he left behind. Uriah did not even go home to see his wife Bathsheba. Uriah thought it would not be fair if he got to see his wife. But none of the other soldiers got to see their wives. David even tried to trick Uriah into going to see Bathsheba. He got him drunk, but Uriah would still not see Bathsheba. That plan did not work. So David did another terrible thing. He wrote a letter to his army general. He told the general to order Uriah to fight in the next battle. The general should tell the other soldiers to step back and stop helping Uriah fight when the fighting got tough. The general did just as David asked, and Uriah was killed in the battle. When David heard the news, he sent for Bathsheba and married her. Now, when Bathsheba had her baby, David thought no one would ever find out what he had done. But God knew what David had done. Nathan was a prophet of the Lord. He followed God and he taught others how to be good. God told Nathan to go and seek King David. The Lord wanted Nathan to tell the king what he was doing was wrong. Sometimes other people must help us notice what we are not doing, what we should. David thought no one knew his secret, so he was happy to see Nathan. He did not think Nathan knew what he and Bathsheba had done, and he acted like everything was alright. But Nathan did know David's secret. He knew because God had told him. But instead of saying it right away, Nathan told David a story so he would understand. Here is the story. There were two men in a city. One man was rich, but the other was poor. The rich man had very many sheep and cattle, but the poor man had nothing except one little female lamb he had bought. The poor man fed lamb. It grew up with him and his children. It shared his food and drank from his cup. It slept in his arms. The lamb was like a daughter to him. Then a traveler stopped to visit the rich man. The rich man wanted to give the food to the traveler, but he did not want to take one of his own sheep or cattle to feed the traveler. Instead, he took the lamb from the poor man. The rich man killed the lamb and cooked it for his visitor. When David heard this, he was very angry. He told Nathan that the rich man was very bad. What he did was wrong and he should be punished. Then Nathan looked straight at David and said, "You are the man. The Lord has told me to tell you that you are just as bad as that rich man in the story. You had all of the riches of the kingdom, and Uriah was poor and only had his wife. He loved his wife. You took his wife away and you had him killed. Because of your sin, bad things will now happen to you. Your family will always fight and your child will die." The bad things did happen to David. The baby that Bathsheba had just had died. David's other sons began to dislike him, and there was always fighting in David's house. Finally, David realized what he had done. He had sinned against God. David was very sorry for his sins. He prayed to the Lord and asked him to forgive him. The Lord knew what was in David's heart. He did not just say he was sorry. David was sorry for what he had done. The Lord forgave David of his sin. But now David and Bathsheba were married. Not long after this, David and Bathsheba had another son, Solomon. My dear children, when we see a friend do something wrong, we should talk to them and encourage them to be good. God bless you.